The last time Chicago had a Republican mayor was 1931 when Big Bill Thompson left office. Our next guest says he wants to end that drought. He is the one Republican among the roughly 16 candidates who want to succeed Rahm Emanuel in what is a nonpartisan election in February. Bill Kelly said he was going to run for governor this year, then he did not. In 2014, he donated $100,000 to his own campaign for mayor, busting spending limits, then didn't end up running. He did run for Illinois Comptroller in the 2010 Republican primary. Kelly is the host of Citizen Kelly. That's a talk radio show on WCGO AM. Bill Kelly, welcome back to Chicago Tonight.
Thank you for having me, Phil.
First of all, basic question, what qualifies you to be mayor of Chicago? You look at Toni Preckwinkle and her experience, you see Bill Daley, you see Paul
I have the
Vallis.
most important qualification of them all, Phil. And first of all, thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it. I was born and raised in Chicago. I love Chicago with all of my heart. I was raised to believe that Chicago is the greatest city in the history of the world.
Lots of people have those three characteristics. What
and I was
qualifies you
raised
to be
to
mayor?
believe that being mayor of Chicago is the most important job in the world. And I am the only Republican running against 2 or 3 dozen Democrats on the same ballot, by the way. Very important point that you just made. I hear them talking about how much they hate Trump, they hate the police, or some combination of those two things. I'm the only candidate talking about how much I love Chicago.
Well, beyond your
Full-time,
love for Chicago,
all day, every day.
what is it that qualifies you to be mayor of the city you love so much?
Well, I've spent my entire life in the city. I was born and raised in the 19th Ward, Southwest Side. A lot of police and fire and Chicago public school teachers. Both my parents were Chicago public school teachers, and I'd like to really get to that issue in a second. But I also was raised in that community, a very unique community, to believe in God, to believe in patriotism, to believe in law and order, 3 things that will get you disinvited to a lot of candidate events in the city of Chicago.
Those are qualities,
yes,
and admirable qualities, but in terms of experience.
Right. I currently live in the 42nd Ward, downtown, Gold Coast, whatever you want to call it. I went to school there, Loyola University. I started my business there. Today it's an Emmy Award-winning TV production company, Phil. I've pulled in millions of dollars. I'm the CFO of my own business, obviously. And one of the interesting things that I've done with that company is I've produced essentially very Chicago-centric TV programs. Upscale Chicago, ran on local Fox for 5 years. Comcast, I was on Sportsaholic on Comcast Sportsnet for a couple of years. These shows brought me all around Chicago, to every square inch of Chicago, and I got to meet people. I got to hear their issues, and I believe that I know Chicago, and that I know what the real people of Chicago care about. And we worked very, very closely with Governor Pat Quinn, for example, a Democrat, who I have a great admiration for, a reformer, on the term limit the mayor referendum. We devoted an hour a night on my radio show, the Citizen Kelly Show, to the term limit the mayor petition drive.
So that was an advocacy thing.
Yes.
Well, look, we couldn't really find any position papers on your website. You directed our producer to your Washington Times opinion piece for your positions. But the article makes a lot of accusations against Mayor Emanuel and the media, but we couldn't find any positions of your own, so now's your chance. Violence, what would you do to make the streets safer?
Okay, well, the first thing we need to do to make the streets safer is for Rahm to resign. The fact that he's not running for re-election, supposedly that's some big accomplishment.
Why would that make the streets safer?
Until my job's not done until Rahm resigns. He's going to be mayor for another 9 months. His ACLU police chief is responsible for a 1 in 20 conviction rate on murders. Phil, we have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of murders in the city of Chicago, shootings and murders.
How would you make things better?
How would I make things better? Yeah. First of all, as mayor of the city of Chicago, the first thing I would do is get up and tell the police that that they can take the handcuffs off themselves and feel free to put the handcuffs on violent offenders. And can I tell you something, Phil? the law-abiding citizens of the vast majority of the citizens of Chicago will be happier as a result of that. We've got a couple of court dates coming up this week. We have, we hear a lot about Van Dyke. Thursday, we also have a court date for Paul Bauer, Commander Paul Bauer. He was shot and murdered directly across the street from City Hall. And he has a court date on Thursday. Why don't we have, in fact, you know what? I'll put the information at williamjkelly.org. I would like to invite my fellow citizens to come out to Paul Bauer's court date on Thursday morning.
Let's talk about schools. What would you do to make Chicago schools better, improve education?
Both my parents were Chicago public school teachers. Education is very near and dear to my heart, Phil.
Well, so what would you do?
As I believe that it is to yours as well. And one of the main reason I believe that Rahm should resign today is, once again, forgive me, accusations. Hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of Chicago public school students have reported being sexually harassed, abused, and raped in the Chicago public school system. Now, these students have not.
You're referring to a Chicago Tribune report.
Exactly right.
But in the field,
this should be front page news. This should be the story that you cover every single day, Phil. If I may say, with all due respect, because I truly respect you and the job you do.
It's been covered. Bill, we're almost out of time, but
it's unfortunate.
Let's talk about some meat and potatoes things. You said that you felt that you would win and that a runoff was not necessary.
Exactly right. Can I tell you why, Phil?
Sure.
I'm running on the same ticket with 20-plus Democrats. I'm the only Republican. Donald Trump, believe it or not, received 133,000 votes in the city of Chicago. If I get the Trump voters alone, who I guarantee you are not going to be voting for Tony Perkwinkle or Lori Lightfoot, and the Democrats divide their Democrat votes in their traditional identity voting, voting blocks, 5 ways to Sunday, 6 ways to Sunday, I will win this race walking away, Phil, and you will have a Mayor Kelly who will truly make it Chicago again.
And if that were to happen, we would want Mayor Kelly back.
Wonderful.
If that were to happen.
I would be honored.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.